Hi there, my name is Kara. I'm a nutritionist and intuitive eating counselor, and today's video is about reframing your beliefs around food. Our beliefs about food inform how we eat and how we feel about how we eat. And we can tell how we feel about how we eat basically by asking ourselves, how do I talk to myself in my head about how and what we eat? How do I make the decisions on what to eat? How do I then judge those decisions? How we think and talk to ourselves about food and what we eat tells us what our core beliefs about food are. For example, if you have a belief that salads are healthy and it is good to eat them, when you eat a salad, that voice in your head is going to say, good job, you did the right thing. And if you believe that sweets and desserts should be limited, when you limit them, that voice will say again, good job, you did it. And when you eat a lot of them, the voice may say like, why can't I just stick to the plan? So on that note, just because we believe something to be true doesn't mean that we follow it. It's when we don't do things that are in line with our beliefs or we go against those things that we get that negative self-talk, the voice that says, you messed up, you need to try harder next time. So the title of this video is How to Stop Stressing About Food. So chances are, if you clicked on this video, you have a lot of that negative self-talk happening. Maybe even constant thoughts of, why can't I just eat healthy? Why is healthy eating so complicated? Why can't I just have more willpower and discipline and self-control? In intuitive eating, we categorize these negative voices into three main voices. The first one is the food police. So this is the voice, and it may even kind of take the form of a specific person's voice in your head, maybe who always criticizes your food choices. This voice tells you that you are good or bad. It's your inner judge who says things like, why am I so lazy? I should be meal prepping, but I keep ordering takeout. Like, what's wrong with me? Then we have the nutrition informant. So this is that know-it-all voice that makes rules based on ingredients and the nutrition of food. So it says things like, dairy is so inflammatory, I really shouldn't be eating it. Then we have the diet rebel. So this voice likes to kind of stick it to the man and go against the food beliefs. So it may say things like, I'm really not supposed to be eating these cookies, so I'm going to eat all of them. Take that diet culture. One note I want to make here is that you may feel very alone in your constant negative thoughts about food and eating and how you eat, but you're really not alone. Our cultural beliefs around food and health and the pursuit of thinness has formed a lot of our beliefs for us, and that leads us to have these voices. And if we are able to categorize them into these three, then it must mean that they're very common manifestations of diet culture and way more common than you think. So I think this is comforting to think about if you're feeling very alone in this. So in order to change this self-talk and to make eating easier, we have to reframe our beliefs around food. So how do we do that? One, ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Then, is that a reliable source? If it was a long time ago, is it time to kind of update this belief? Then ask yourself, is it reasonable? Is it true? Can I find concrete evidence that it is true? And if it's not reasonable or true, what is an alternative version of this belief that is reasonable and true? Then lastly, how will this newly reframed belief affect my behavior, and is that something that I want to happen? So let's go through this with an example. Say the belief is, I really shouldn't eat after 8 p.m. Because you hold this belief, you have many nights where you may be hungry after 8 p.m., but either you don't eat because you think you're not supposed to, so then you're thinking about food all night. Maybe you even wake up feeling a little nauseous in the morning because your stomach is just so empty and you're going so long without food. Or when you do eat after 8 p.m., you may have thoughts like, I'm not supposed to be doing this, so I should just eat a lot because tomorrow I'll stick to my 8 p.m. cutoff time. Or why can't I just stick to such a simple rule? I have no willpower, what's wrong with me? All these negative thoughts. So in either case, whether you are acting in line with that belief and not eating after 8 p.m. or not, it's really not supporting you and it's having negative consequences. So in the case of that belief, it's a good one to kind of bring into question and reframe with these steps. So let's go through the 4 steps here. 1, where did this belief come from? Did I hear this from an unqualified social media influencer, or maybe like my middle school soccer coach, or in the latest diet book? Are these really reliable sources that I should be basing my food beliefs on? Then, is it reasonable to never eat past 8 p.m.? Not really. My schedule varies a lot. Life happens, and sometimes I'm hungry past 8 p.m. And when I'm hungry, it must mean that my body needs food, that I haven't eaten enough. Can I find concrete evidence that it's universally true that I should never eat past 8 p.m.? Probably not. Then, if it's not reasonable or true, what is reasonable? What's an alternative version that is actually supportive? So maybe it's, I know I don't feel good when I eat a really heavy meal right before I go to bed, but I'm typically awake for a long time past 8 p.m. And sometimes I'm hungry, and it doesn't mean that I'm doing anything wrong by eating. It means my body needs food, and I should honor that. And maybe it means you need to eat more at dinner if you are really, really hungry again soon after. Or maybe it means your body just needs more food that day for a multitude of reasons. And lastly, how will this newly framed belief support me? This new belief that I can and should eat any time of day when I'm hungry feels good. It feels supportive, and that my body knows best, and building that self-trust and mind-body connection feels good. Working against what my body is telling me doesn't feel good. It's not reasonable to set a cutoff time for eating when every day is different. My body is different, and my needs as a human change all the time, and it feels good to honor that. Try this out on your own food beliefs that aren't supporting you and causing you to stress out about food. And there's so much more that goes into getting in touch with your body and your hunger cues, so be sure to check out my other videos and hit subscribe below. See you next time.